Press and hold the center power button to power on the bike. Hold down the plus and minus buttons simultaneously to reach the settings menu. Scroll down and press the center button to select the battery lock page, and then press it once again to unlock and eject the battery. Place your hand below the battery to support it. Once the top end of the battery is disengaged, press the handle to release the battery and lift it out of the bike. Remove the drive side crank bolt with an 8mm hex wrench, turning it counterclockwise. Thread in the crank puller to the crank arm. Thread in the crank puller until it stops. Begin to turn the inner stud by turning the outer handle clockwise to press the crank off the spindle. Next, release the tension on the derailleur to remove the chain. Use the Park Tool LRT2 on the chainring center lock ring. Hold the chainring in place and rotate the lock ring clockwise to loosen. The lock ring is reverse threaded. Once the lock ring is off, the chainring can be removed. Move to the non-drive side and remove the non-drive side crank bolt by turning it clockwise with an 8mm hex key. The non-drive side crank bolt is reverse threaded. To remove the crank arm, repeat the same crank removal steps used for the drive side. Use a 2.5mm hex wrench to loosen and remove all 4 of the lower motor cover bolts, and use a Torx T8 to remove the 2 bolts of the side motor cable cover. Remove both covers. Use a Torx T40 to loosen and remove the 6 motor mounting bolts. Lift the mid-drive unit out of the frame and disconnect each of the plugs, as shown. Remove the mid-drive unit. Swap the mid-drive unit. Reconnect each of the plugs from the related harnesses to the mid-drive unit. Ensure the arrows align with the color indicated lines facing outward and firmly press the plugs in place. Organize the cables and carefully reposition the mid-drive unit in place. Replace each of the 6 motor mounting bolts and thread them all in with the Torx T40 before final tightening. Torque each bolt to 20 to 25 Newton meters. Replace the side cover and replace the two mounting bolts using a Torx T8. Replace the lower motor cover and reinstall each of the 4 mounting bolts using a 2.5mm hex wrench. Reinstall the chainring by sliding it in place, and then apply a small amount of grease to the lock ring threads and thread it on by hand. The lock ring is reverse threaded. Using your Park Tool LRT2, tighten the lock ring in place. Hold the chainring firmly with your left hand and do not let it rotate. Fully tighten the lock ring to a torque of 30 Nm. Reinstall the right crank arm with the remaining crank bolt marked with an R. Reinstall the crank bolt, standard thread, and tighten it to a torque of 40 Nm. Install the chain onto the chainring. Find your non-drive side crank bolt marked with an L. Reinstall the left crank arm. Ensure to clock the crank arm 180 degrees opposite the other crank arm's orientation. The bolt is reverse threaded. Tighten by turning the bolt counterclockwise to a torque of 40 Nm. Replace the battery in the frame by inserting the bottom end first and then tilting the top end into place. Press firmly and a click should be heard once the battery is locked into place. Press and hold the power button to power on the bike and test for proper function.